Good morning and welcome to Junkets Multimedia live stream for Monday, October 26th. This is an Air English production streaming live to your device from beautiful Brisbane in Australia. In this bulletin, wild weather is continuing to lash the east coast with heavy rain and downed trees causing a lot of traffic delays. No new COVID-19 cases have been reported in Victoria, despite thousands of tests in a cluster of cities north, which is good news. Business leaders have joined Prime Minister in slamming a decision not to lift more restrictions. The government has voiced serious concerns over allegations about the Qatar Airways staff when they examined multiple Australian female passengers after a premature baby was found in an airport bathroom. And in sport, Melbourne Storm are celebrating their winning the NRL Grand Final. Follow us throughout the day for key breaking news, developments, coronavirus updates and live streams from Australia and from around the world. But right now, for a very quick look at the weather with Dilraj. So let's welcome Dilraj.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 29 degree. Brisbane area is partly cloudy with light winds. Fire danger is low to moderate. Sun protection is recommended till 3 past 10 and UV index is predicted to reach 9, that is very high. Till tomorrow, stay safe and have a good day.
And thank you very much for that. And it's good to see that the sunshine again after that little bit of rain. And moving on, let's go to the news for today. And as we know that throughout the day we'll be have updates just as they come. But the key things are no new virus or deaths in Victoria, heavy winds, heavy rain lashes East Coast, Qatar Airlines staff accused of forcibly examining women after body was found in an airport bathroom. And Italy closes gyms, such restaurants and bars early to fight COVID-19. And of course, in today's bulletin, we have an exclusive Air English interview on a 24-hour hand sanitizer that's been, and we'll have glimpses of the Sera at Vishnu Maya Mandir and of course of the White Ribbon state conference that took place here in Brisbane. But first of all, let's go to Victoria, where Daniel Andrew is providing us with his update.
Again, let me thank those community leaders that were on the Zoom meeting this morning. They're all stepping up and doing a fantastic job. Schools that have been involved have absolute gold standard. They've done everything that we've asked them to do. Other faith leaders are reaching out in their communities as a trusted voice, speaking to people about what needs to happen. We're very grateful and very proud of the way the community has come together to support each other and indeed to support every single Victorian, because unless we contain this outbreak, then it will be a challenge for all of us. Just finally, with so many test results that are in the labs at the moment and with so many people that will get tested today, the results of which will not be known for some time, most likely very late tonight or early tomorrow morning, I just want to caution people from, if you like, banking that tomorrow I'm making a whole series of detailed announcements about opening up. We do hope to get to that point, but with so many thousands of tests that are still being processed, we need to see the results of those tests. Again, I stress numbers are not always the most accurate guide. Almost certainly we will get more cases out of these separate outbreaks. The key point will be tomorrow and Monday and throughout the week, are they linked? Are they cases that can be, if you like, linked? If they're not, if there are no linkages, if they're not linked in any way, then that speaks to the fact that there may be more virus in that northern part of the city than we would be comfortable with. It also speaks directly to the fact that if that is the case, then opening up can see case numbers explode. We have in some respects been in this position before, and we have to do everything we can to avoid that. I'll make announcements tomorrow. I'll fully explain where it is we land, but with so many test results in the labs and others that will be done today, it's really important that we be guided by the data and the evidence and the science. We always have been, and now is not the time, despite the fact we're so close, now is not the time for us to start ignoring when we find significant virus in a given, whether it be in a given community or in a given geographical area. That's not to be. We are still optimistic that we'll be able to have positive things to say, but it's a note of caution. With so much information yet to come to us, we need to be guided by that. That has always been the way. That is what has delivered these low numbers. That is what has seen us go from literally thousands of active cases to now less than 100 active cases for the first time in months.
For the first time in months, that is a very good news. And good morning to everyone joining in. Yes, it's morning in this beautiful part of the world, Brisbane, Australia. Well, right now, let's very quickly take a look at the headlines for today and key headlines with those news, courtesy of ABC.
An announcement on the reopening of Melbourne. The Premier, Daniel Andrews, dashed the hopes of many Melburnians yesterday when he delayed plans to wind back COVID restrictions. It comes as authorities attempt to get on top of a new coronavirus outbreak in the city's northern suburbs.
The federal government's demanded answers from Qatari authorities after Australian women were subjected to invasive internal examinations in the Gulf States airport. The 13 women were on a flight from Doha to Sydney earlier this month. They were forced to undergo the examinations in an ambulance parked on the airport tarmac after a premature baby was found in a terminal bathroom. Hamid International Airport says a newborn baby was found there on October the 2nd. Medical professionals wanted to find the mother before she departed.
Crews have worked through the night to try to restore power across southeast Queensland after severe thunderstorms. The wild weather struck yesterday, bringing destructive winds, lightning and heavy rain. 33,000 homes lost power and one person was seriously injured after being struck by a tree. Severe warnings are now in place in parts of New South Wales affected by the same weather system.
Search operations failed to find a woman who was swept off rocks at a beach in WA's southwest. Police say two people tried to help rescue the woman when she initially fell into the water at the Injured Up Natural Spa Beach, which is known for its treacherous conditions.
And as that news from News concerns about $70,000 that he was given in expenses. So we are talking about Daniel Creman from I6. Well, I mean, we always worry about I6 that, you know, it's the regulator for us. And what about ISIC, itself? How is that managed? So the key points are that Daniel Creman, seen in that photo, was due to step down in 2021, but decided to leave immediately. The National Audit Office raised concerns about $70,000 housing cost payment made to him. ISIC Chair James Sipton stood aside last week over an investigation into tax advice expenses. Daniel Creman QC said it is in the best interest of ISIC for him to resign. The National Audit Office, INAO, flagged irregularities with payments made to Mr. Creman and ISIC Chair James Sipton. Mr. Sipton has issued aside pending the outcome of an investigation, and Mr. Creman released a statement today saying that he had intended to retire from his position in July 21. However, in the current circumstances, I have decided that it is in the best interest of ISIC for me to resign now. So that's the breaking news. And of course, ISIC being the main regulator of all the companies and everything like that, and when the top officials behave in this manner, oh my God, yes. Well, right now, as we know, Australia has been built on migration. And, we have never had the negative migration in the country until that World War. So what is happening right now? Here's a look at that story.
In some ways, the biggest news out of the budget 3 weeks ago was Treasury's prediction that net migration is about to go negative for the first time since 1917, when 300,000 soldiers left to fight overseas. This year, Treasury thinks it'll be minus 72,000, and next year, minus 22,000. And migration won't get back to what it was as far ahead as they can see. What's more, they think the birth rate is dropping from 1.69 babies per woman to 1.58 this year, before going back to what it was. So Treasury came up with new forecasts for population growth, compared with the straight line that it was expecting last year. And by the way, that was just an extrapolation of the sort of growth that's been happening since the first fleet. Here's what that looks like. But what if the future looks like this? Because migration stays negative for a few more years and the birth rate doesn't recover. That would be a very big deal. Australia's population growth has been about the strongest in the world. Without it, we would have had a long recession in 2008-9, and since then, economic growth would have been much weaker and down to zero recently. Like most countries, Australia is addicted to growth, but without more and more people coming in, we might have to go cold turkey. And then there's housing. When population growth expanded suddenly from 200,000 per year to 400,000 in 2006, housing construction didn't go with it, so a shortage developed. And that's the main reason house prices took off as a percentage of income in Australia while falling in the rest of the world. And that is a drug we can do without. So while kicking the population growth habit might be painful economically, there could be some financial health benefits.
And there's a very good release there about what's happening and how it also affects housing market, the building industry and everything. So, the net migration numbers are really going down, and they're not predicted to pick up really soon in the next few years. Well, the other big news is about the vaccine and how soon it could be released. Here's that report.
President Trump also said during that debate something that may give a lot of people in America some hope. He said that there would be a vaccine ready for them by the end of the year.
I think we will know, yes, I believe he said that correctly. We will know whether a vaccine is safe and effective by the end of November, the beginning of December. The question is, once you have a safe and effective vaccine or more than one, how can you get it to the people who need it as quickly as possible? So the amount of doses that will be available in December will not certainly be enough to vaccinate everybody. You'll have to wait several months into 2021. But what will happen is that there has been a prioritization set so that individuals such as healthcare workers will very likely get first shot at it, as will then likely people who are in the category of being at an increased risk for complications. That could start by the end of this year, the beginning, January, February, March of next year. But when you talk about vaccinating a substantial proportion of the population so that you can have a significant impact on the dynamics of the outbreak, that very likely will not be until the second or third quarter of the year.
This is going to go away soon. Did you say that?
So there you go. It's not going to happen straight away. Need to allow a little bit of time, as mentioned. Well, right now, talking about the vaccine, we also going to talk about the hand sanitizers. Now we know that it's always a pain trying to get in and out of the office or in and out of the toilets or bathrooms. We go and they come back and have to apply the hand sanitizer. Have you ever felt that it might be leaving your hand dry? What might long-term use of that have? What kind of effect it might have on your skin? Let's take a look at that, and very exclusive interview with Mike Motta, and I have developed a hand sanitizer which can be used once in the morning, and it covers you for 24 hours. And then you don't have to go each and every time and having to rub that hand sanitizer throughout the day. So here's that exclusive interview with Mike Motta. So ladies and gentlemen, this is another community segment of Australian Indian Radio, and we are living in strange times, and of course in this time there's lots of talks about many things that could be done in today's day and age. I'm talking about how to conquer or how to control COVID-19. And we are very glad to know that an innovative hand sanitizer which promises 24 hours protection against COVID-19 has been developed. And for that, we would be welcoming into the studio Mike Mota from Novaland. But a little bit about Mike. He has 25 years of sales, marketing, and leaderships in global food and beverage and antimicrobial and hygiene solutions. Leadership at the role of ZEP Samtel, which is now BASF, and the diversity domestic and international. He's got an MBA of Global Management from University of Phoenix and BS in Psychology from West Virginia University. So ladies and gentlemen, on this very important topic with me in the studio today, I have Mike Mota from Novaland. Welcome to the studios and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And it's wonderful to have you. So now, just moving on with this innovation and talking about this. So can you tell us a little bit about this latest innovation?
Absolutely. It's a non-toxic antimicrobial foaming hand wash, and it provides 24 hours protection against lots of harmful microorganisms, including COVID-19. It's an environmentally friendly product that provides residual all-day protection against harmful germs.
Okay, so 24 hours, that is amazing. So how does this product help with the fight against COVID-19?
Yeah, so it does a couple of things. It kills on contact. So if you happen to have COVID-19 on your hands and you spray this product onto your hands, it will kill COVID-19 on contact. The other unique benefit of this technology is it provides a coating. It has a residual protection for up to 24 hours. So COVID-19 or any harmful microorganism cannot survive on your hands as long as you have that coating.
Okay, now, we know that, in today's day and age and ever since this pandemic was around, there is a range of hand sanitizers which are out and available in the market. So how is Novaland Shield Plus different to traditional hand sanitizers?
Very different. As I mentioned, so it kills on contact. That's the first thing. The second thing is it prevents the growth of harmful germs on your hands. And the third thing, we don't talk a lot about this, but it is a very unique benefit. Traditional hand sanitizers, typically alcohol-based hand sanitizers, they dry out your hands. So if you're using them regularly throughout the day, they typically dry out your hands. And what they're doing is they're removing the natural oils from your skin, leaving your hands dry, and then ultimately your hands become itchy, and then eventually they crack. Our technology, the Novaland Shield, has essential oils inside the formulation. Those essential oils replace the natural oils from your skin, and not only does it feel protected, but your hands feel nice and moisturized throughout the day.
Mike, I must say that I have had that feeling, of the hand drying, and I think I have had that feeling that, it's taking away the more. I was thinking about that many times when I've been using. So, of course, we know there is lots of parents who are looking after children and a bit anxious about all these products that are coming out. So what advice would you have for parents wanting to protect their children?
Yeah, great question. We have to educate the children to constantly wash their hands multiple times throughout the day. And it's not just washing, it's washing with soap and warm water. And I've got young children myself. We constantly encourage and remind them to wash their hands as often as they can. The really nice thing about Novaland Shield, you can start the day off before they leave the house and go to school. They can start the day off with a coating of the Novaland Shield. They rub it into their skin. They get it in. They do a really nice rub. And once it gets into the skin, it bonds with the skin. You can wash your hands multiple times a day throughout the day, and that coating will not be removed. So you're getting the the added protection of the Novalent Shield, in addition to washing your hands with warm water, warm soapy water.
Okay, so the Novalent Shield, and it works for 24 hours. That is just amazing. Now, people would probably want a lot more information than we can provide in this interview as well. So where can people go and get more information?
We have a comprehensive website that can tell you all about the product. Our website is www.novalentshield.com.au. You can get the information that you need to make an educated decision on the product. You can also buy it on the site, and it will also be available in leading pharmacies.
Okay, so you mentioned that people can buy it from the site, and apart from the site, where else would the Novalent Shield Plus be available?
Yeah, the easiest thing as people are shopping online more frequently these days, the site is a great way to buy it, but it's also going to be available in leading pharmacies as well. So your local pharmacy will be carrying this product.
Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing this, very vital and information with people. So, they don't have to worry about, sanitizing their hand throughout the day if the cover is there for 24 hours. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing this information with us and our listeners and viewers.
Thank you so much for having me, and stay safe.
Thank you so much. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen, up to date on and moving on with the show. Right now it's time to go to some of the functions and events happening around here in Brisbane. First of all, we'll go to the White Ribbon and the White Ribbon State Conference that took place on Saturday, and it's wonderful to see that the White Ribbon back in action under the new leadership. And of course we had representation from all over, and that's Dave Caravan, and we had all our state committee members come and attend the conference, and it is good to see, and you will soon be hearing from many of the committees, local committees, of what's happening locally and how you too can get involved. But once again, the state conference on Saturday went on very well under the guidance and leadership of Chu Hing Chen, who is our state chair, and that is Sharon Orapalang there with her presentation. These are just a few glimpses of the event as it took place on Saturday in Fortitude Valley. And it is wonderful to see all the state chairs coming together and all different committees. The committees are, there's Brisbane South, Brisbane North, the Multicultural Engagement Group, and all the way up to Cairns. There's so many different chapters and so many different committees that were represented at this state conference which took place on Saturday. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now the other event, of course, we know that this is a very auspicious time, and yesterday was the Sera of Vijayalakshmi as well, the 9th day or the ending of Navratri, and here's some glimpses from Vishnu Maya Mandir of the celebrations. So that's some glimpses there from Vishnu Maya Mandir with the celebration there last night, and I said it's wonderful to see so many people coming together. Right now it's time to take a bit of a commercial break. With that, we'd like to welcome our sponsors, GlobeNet Realty.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
Real estate is the world, and of course they say you can't beat the experience, and of course the longest established agency in the area. And as per our interview last week, the first in one of the trade areas, and second in the other one, meaning they are up the top there with so many different agencies working in the area. Right now it's time to go to New South Wales, where the report is that there is no new local cases.
Good morning. For the second consecutive day, there were no new cases of locally transmitted COVID-19 in New South Wales to 8 p.m. last night. In the 24 hours to 8 p.m. last night, there were 5 cases in overseas travellers in hotel quarantine. There were 12,890 tests reported to 8 p.m. last night, compared with 13,686 the day before. New South Wales Health is treating 74 COVID cases with no patients in intensive care. Of the new cases to 8 p.m. last night, all 5 were acquired overseas and are in hotel quarantine. New South Wales Health continues to appeal to the community to come forward for testing right away if anyone has even the mildest of symptoms, like a runny nose, scratchy throat, cough, fever, or other symptoms that could be COVID-19. There are more than 300 COVID-19 testing locations across New South Wales. To find your nearest clinic, visit our website or contact your GP. Thank you.
And that is a very good news that there's no new cases there. Well, right now, let's talk to the Minister for Industry, Science and Technology, Karen Andrews.
Karen Andrews, welcome to the program. Can I just start by asking whether you agree with your colleague, Andrew Laming, there? Should the heads of the NBN, Snowy Hydro, Australia Post and so on earn multiple times what a High Court judge earns?
Look, there has been extensive debate on remuneration for senior public service officials, heads of statutory authorities. That has been going on for many, many years. We do have a remuneration tribunal that deals with many of those issues, but the core of the issue, particularly with where we are at the moment, is that we have seen over the last couple of days in particular where there have been instances of things that have happened that have not gone anywhere near passing the pub test. So we've got taxation advice, and of course we've got the issues with Australia Post. Now, I don't think Australians generally have an issue with people being remunerated appropriately. What they do have an issue with is that being taken advantage of. So if you are earning a significant salary, then maybe you can pay for your own hair and makeup. Maybe you can do the pretty basic things that everyday Australians do to look after yourself, and not constantly look to how you're going to up your remuneration by cashing in on the public purse.
But the remuneration itself, just to be clear, you don't have a problem with some of the salaries these CEOs are earning?
Well, I think that what we've got to look at is a couple of issues. And yes, we do want to attract the best and the brightest into the public sector. I mean, that's a very important thing for us to look at. But they do need to be remunerated appropriately. And that is not paying them over the top. And it's not then looking at ways to supplement their base salary.
OK, what about the idea of a wider inquiry, though, as to how they're spending money on them? I mean, you mentioned some of the items there on hair and makeup and so on. Does there need to be a wider inquiry across these public entities?
I think the first step is to start with Australia Post and to discover whether or not this was a one-off issue or whether it is systemic, and understand what the breadth of those issues actually are. And from there we can see, well, are there wider issues that we need to look at across the public sector?
Well, that wouldn't tell you what's going on at the NBN or the Future Fund or anything, would it? A 4-week inquiry at Australia Post?
No, but it's going to give you an insight into what is happening in that one organisation. That's the first step.
Okay.
So I think we need to understand what's happening there and then look potentially more broadly, but only on the basis of what we actually find at Australia Post and potentially at ASIC.
Now, let's turn to your portfolio. It's a few weeks now since you unveiled the manufacturing plan, $1.5 billion to be spent on 6 chosen sectors.
So we leave that report there, and that was more the inquiry into the wages and, of course, some of the fringe benefits that people get. I do have a disclosure. I'm a CEO of a company, and I pay for my own hair care. Well, on that note, let's move into the ILGA inquiry, which will lead into the James Packer inquiry. Let's, there's quite a few things that have been revealed there. So we saw today, the head of ASIC. Then we've also, from the Minister for Industry and Science and Technology, Karen Andrews, we've looked at Australia Post and other CEOs and what's happening at those high level. It is a bit disturbing to, see that this kind of things happening at that higher level.
Commissioner, this public hearing will explore aspects of the commercial settings in which casinos operate, and in particular will focus on junkets, money laundering and current regulatory settings. This is for the following reasons. Part B of the terms of reference of this inquiry require you to inquire into the veracity of media allegations which, amongst other things, allege that Crown Resorts or its subsidiaries engaged in money laundering and partnered with junket operators with links to drug traffickers, money launderers, human traffickers and organised crime groups. In light of that, you are required to consider the suitability of Crown Resorts and its subsidiary, which holds the restricted gaming licence, to continue holding that licence. Part C of the terms of reference requires you to consider the environment in which casinos operate and to make recommendations for achieving best practice regulatory settings which are appropriately adapted to this environment and the risks associated with it.
So the TOR there is going to look at that inquiry into the junkets, and when James Packer are a little bit distraught there, and of course not very in a very sort of uneasy situation, but here's how he tackles the junkets question.
You see, that program alleged that Melker Crown dealt with 5 junkets having links to organised crime, being the Amax junket, Chan Meng Cam, the Manpu Gaming Promotion Company, the Ocean Star junket, which was linked to Neptune, and the Sun City junket. Don't you agree that you've long been on notice of allegations that Melper Crown and Crown Resorts were dealing with junkets associated with organised crime.
James Becker.
Yes, that's fair.
During the period that you were executive chairman of Crown Resorts, did you have any understanding at all of the due diligence that Crown Resorts undertook with respect to junket operators?
Only at the highest level.
And what does that mean?
That I was assured that they were junkets of good repute.
And beyond that, is it fair to say that you had no understanding of the due diligence that Crown Resorts undertook?
Yes.
Do you agree, Mr. Packer?
So, that's a questions on junkets, and then that questions and the leading led on, and because that was a Zoom sort of meeting recorded, so the audio and video sometimes do not sync well. But then the other part, when the questions led on, and that's when James Becker revealed that he is suffering or undergoing treatment for bipolar.
How can the New South Wales regulator have any confidence in your character or integrity in light of your communications in these emails?
Because I'm being treated now for my bipolar.
And how can the New South Wales regulator have any confidence in your character or integrity in light of your
So, he disclosed that he's going through that bipolar, but also, I leave that inquiry there. Later on, the chairperson of the Crown Resorts was interviewed, and Helen couldn't make the admission to Commissioner Baggin in an inquiry into the gambling giant's conduct, and she admitted that money laundering could have been an oversight.
Well, let's assume that it was ineptitude. Let's assume that it was lack of attention. Those two aspects of conduct allowed the money laundering to take place, did it not?
Would have allowed it, yes.
And in allowing something that is not intervening and stopping it, on one view of it, it's not unreasonable to say that this ineptitude and lack of attention facilitated it.
I think allowed it to happen.
And I suppose if you allow something to happen time and again, and people know that they can do it, everybody loses, don't they?
I agree with that.
The community loses because you've got money laundering in your casino, correct?
Yes, you don't want to have that.
And Crown loses because it's seen as an inept company lacking in attention, correct?
On this kind of scenario, yes.
And the reasonable bystander, or the bystander, could reasonably conclude that this conglomerate of ineptitude, lack of attention, and failing to intervene facilitated money laundering. Would you not agree with that?
Yes, I think it was the turning of blind.
So there's the admission there from the chair, and of course we heard from the director, James Becker, and his angle was slightly different to that of the chair's way of handling that situation. Well, anyway, the inquiry is going on. It will be interesting to see what the findings are. Well, right now, time to go to international news, and right now, Donald Trump goes to voting. Good to see him in the mask.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Didn't
It's
last.
an honor to be voting. It's an honor to be in this great area, which I know so well. And we're going to make 3 stops today, big ones, big rallies, 3 big ones. Crowds have never been, I don't think there's ever been anything like this. There's tremendous spirit. I hear we're doing very well in Florida, and we're doing very well, I hear, every place else. So thank you very much, and you're going to be very busy today because we're going to work you hard.
Mr. President, who did you vote for today?
I voted for a guy named Trump. Thank you very much, everybody.
So he voted for a guy named Trump, and he said to the journalist there that you're going to be very busy today, that we're going to work you hard. He says it as it is. That's one thing. Well, right now the next news is a bit disturbing news as we go to Nigeria. What's happened there is quite unfortunate if you look at the scenes there. So Nigerian President Muhammad Buhari says that 69 people have been killed in protest against police brutality. So those shocking scenes are coming from Nigeria when the public protest against the police took place. Now, when you look at the devastation, you don't know how much of that is pre-existing or how much was as a result of that protest, because we know there's a lot that's been happening there. So, there's protest against the police and, of course, against the President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, ladies and gentlemen, time now to look at some of the functions and events taking place in and around Brisbane. And don't forget that many of these functions and events would be taking place virtually, and some of them would be in person with live streaming for other people to join in as well. So, here's a look at some of the functions and events happening right here in Brisbane. FICQ Diwali, Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian Radio are proud sponsors as media partners. Gopia Queensland's annual Diwali dinner fun-filled night with Antashri, raffles and lots of entertainment. Limited number of tickets available, so please make sure you go on Eventbrite and reserve your spot. Melbourne Indian Film Festival, IFFM 20, the full programs there. Lord Mayor's Multicultural Dinner sold out. It's a fully sold out, fully subscribed event. Now, with the mental health matters, we know that there have been a series of events that have been taking place that will continue throughout the month. These are some of the ones that are left to go. Queensland Multicultural Council presents the end of year dinner function, once again booked via Eventbrite. So you can log on to our website as well to get update on all the functions and events that are taking place. And as you heard from Dr. Charita Deshpande last week about our upcoming edition, which will have lots of Diwali functions and Diwali events and well wishes. So if you like to have your well wishes included in the upcoming edition, please do contact Dr. Charita Deshpande, and of course you can call our office number as well. And but Charita is the one who's looking after the sales and marketing as the marketing manager. And of course, with Australian Indian Radio, thank you for so many listeners over the weekend as we had the Navratri and the Dasera special, and so many comments and so many people who tuned in. We will, in one of the episodes, we will show you how to actually log on and how to tune in to Australian Indian Radio, because we've been getting lots of inquiries, especially from overseas, from India and from Dubai and from Doha and all other places, that they want to know how they can listen. So it is good to see that kind of interest which is out there. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful having your company. It's always so good to see you. Until tomorrow is goodbye from me. Enjoy the rest of your day, but most importantly, remain safe.